All right. Another look at the recent takeover of the United States Congress by the so-called Tea Party movement. We knew as soon as corporate power had the last flimsy restraining strings cut, it would have its hands in the till of state. What these folks are really about is defunding democracy. They'll never admit it in so many words. They're too slick for that. But they see democracy as one of those luxuries American society can no longer afford. Just as gasoline seems headed for $5 a gallon by July, which statement an oil and gas insider said to me last winter, by the way, the recommendation is to cut back on consumption, not get to the root of the problem, which is control of marketing by self-serving profiteers. So we in the working public are to cut back our consumption of publicly funded access to health, education, opportunities in food for children, in unemployment insurance, special services for the handicapped, access to cultural agencies, you name it, across the board. Well, these funds are diverted by tax cuts, loopholes, or subsidies to those buying an $8 million object of art for their third house in the Hamptons. Their idea of the public good is Andrew Carnegie's gospel of wealth. This from the man whose solution to his own striking employees at the Carnegie Steelworks in Homestead, Pennsylvania, was a shootout with state militia, and indicting strike leaders as anarchists and terrorists for daring to organize a protest at his wage cuts, believing themselves to be American-born freemen with rights their employer was obligated to respect. This is the kind of 19th century world the current ruling class in Congress hold up as an ideal. The great men on top dispensing largesse when they feel like it, shrugging off any greater responsibility like their Ayn Rand heroes, to turn what's left of government into, in Marx's phrase, merely the managing committee of the bourgeoisie. To defund the public good is to destroy democracy. And that is their goal. They will tell you in private of their great contempt for the very notion that America is a democracy. It's a republic, as their parents once said in the John Birch Society. Every worldly philosopher in the last 100 years has told us that the public good can thrive only if there is a progressive income tax. By allowing exemptions of up to 45% of all adults in the United States, and these exemptions are crafted all across the class spectrum for political reasons, is to starve democratic distribution of public revenue by making it too expensive to continue. And they also manage history in the same way they manage the economy and now government, for themselves only. They want you to weep over every U.S. casualty fighting unjust and unnecessary foreign wars as fallen heroes, but they will not tell you of men and women who gave their life's blood at home for rights now being pissed away. At Homestead, Pennsylvania, all through the battles for social democracy fought over the last century. You're to appreciate those rights only when your son or daughter is exported overseas to shoot someone else defending his own rights in his own homeland. And what American rights are these brave men and women defending? Tax cuts for the super wealthy, the right to be treated like a serf at work, the right of a woman to be told what she can't do with her own body, as in Iran, the right to lose your livelihood at someone else's personal whim, so we can afford that second Hummer. No, don't fight for your rights at home for a decent living, just die fighting to take them from someone else. You know, we've always had these problems, but the balance that made them bearable is being lost. To defund is to destabilize. But maybe that's what it takes to wake up the great masses. As Lenin once said, history is made only when millions are active, and he didn't mean campaign contributions. Hark, a knock at the phone. Hello? Hold on just a minute. Let me use the other ear. Hello? Chairman Mao. Why are you chuckling? Calm down, calm down. You just beat Pinochet a pinochle. That ain't saying much. You just called in to remind us that revolution is not a tea party. Well, I hear you, but hold on. Just a minute, Comrade Chairman. I can knock on the other line. Hello? Malcolm X. Just wanting to remind us that you can't sit at a table with nothing on your plate and call yourself a diner. And being in America doesn't make you an American unless you've got the daily bread you've worked for. Well, I hear you. And you too, Mr. Chairman.
Do you?